For the last few weeks, there's been one thing all over the news.
Hosepipe bans,
Reservoirs running low,
people being asked not to water their gardens,
not to wash their cars,
not to use more water than they really need. And that got us thinking, it doesn't really affect us, and not because we found some clever loophole, and not because we're different to everybody else.
The truth is, the hosepipe ban simply reminded us why we moved here in the first place. People assume that we moved here because we just wanted to quit the rat race.
Or because we didn't want to pay any bills.
Or because we don't like people and we wanted to move to the middle of nowhere.
Now there might be an element of truth in all of those things, but that's not the real reason we moved here.
The real reason we moved here was for freedom.
But not the kind of freedom where you can do whatever you like.
No, the kind of freedom that comes from taking responsibility for more parts of your life.
Yeah, because we found something quite interesting.
Yeah, the more responsibility that we've taken, the more freedom that we've gained.
Yeah. We're responsible for our own water, so we don't have a water bill, and we can use our water however we like. I've got the camera.
We're responsible for generating our own electricity, so we're free from worrying every time there's an energy price increase.
But there is a flip side to this.
Yes. If the spring runs dry, that's on us.
If the batteries don't charge, that's on us.
And if anything else breaks, that's on us too.
But there's something strangely satisfying about all of that.
The sense of accomplishment you get from doing things yourself, from learning new skills, from taking on tasks you never imagined you'd ever be taking on, far outweighs the troubles of, making it work.
Yeah, because every project we do teaches us something, and every mistake we make makes us a little bit better. And then with every improvement, it just buys us a little bit more freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing reminds us of that more than this spring here.
When we first told people we were buying a 200-year-old farmhouse with no mains electricity,
no mains water,
and no mains drainage,
most people thought we'd completely lost the plot.
And to be fair, there were moments when we wondered the same thing. It certainly wasn't the easiest option.
No, there are easier lives and easier houses to live in.
And probably much cheaper ways of doing things.
But we'd spent years living off-grid on our narrowboat, and that experience completely changed the way we look at things.
It taught us something very important, which we're grateful for, is that you don't actually need as much as you think you do.
No. You just have to make better use of what you've already got.
Yeah. And when this place came along, we didn't just see an old farmhouse, we saw potential.
Yeah, potential to restore something that had already been here for 200 years.
Potential to learn new skills.
And potential to become that little bit more self-reliant every year.
And that's what this channel is really about. Learning.
Learning new skills.
Learning how to fix things.
Learning how things work.
Learning to have a go.
And learning to rely a little bit less on somebody else and a little bit more on ourselves.
Because every time we learn something new, nobody can ever take that knowledge away from us.
And perhaps that's the greatest freedom of all.
Not that we've got all the answers, far from it.
We're still making mistakes every single week.
But every mistake teaches us something.
Every challenge makes us a little bit more capable.
And every project leaves this place just a little bit better than we found it.
And that is what keeps us going.
And nothing sums that up better than this little spring that's been doing exactly that same job for the last 200 years.
This is where it all begins.
Every cup of tea I make,
Every load of washing she does,
every bath we take,
every drop of water that we drink,
every meal that I cook,
it all starts here. Every single drop that we consume starts at this spring. And the amazing thing is, this little spring has probably been doing the exact same job for the last 200 years.
Long before we arrived here,
Long before water companies and smart meters,
long before filters and treatment centres,
this spring has been quietly looking after the people who have always lived in the house below.
and now it's looking after us. Sometimes people ask us if we worry about relying on a spring.
And the honest answer is no.
Not really.
There was one time, about a week after we moved in, where the taps ran dry.
And at first we thought something had seriously gone wrong.
But it was actually one of the best things that could have happened to us.
Yeah, because it forced us to understand how it actually works.
Yeah, like where the water comes from, how it's collected, how it gets sent to the house, but more importantly, how it can be improved, because there's definitely some improvements that can be made. And once again, that responsibility is on us.
But we've noticed something, that every single day, once our water tank is full, the excess simply flows away.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And watching it, you can't help but wonder how much potential energy we're just letting disappear.
Ever since we bought this place, we've dreamed of creating our own electricity from the water that flows through here.
The idea of generating our own power, morning and night, through summer and winter, just makes perfect sense.
On our other stream, we measured the flow, we measured the head, spent hours researching pipe sizes, layout and turbines.
And for a while it looked like that dream was just around the corner. But life has other ideas sometimes.
The costs were higher than we'd hoped. The permissions weren't necessarily as straightforward as we'd hoped.
No. And so instead of trying to do everything at once, we just took a step back, because the best way to reach a dream is to take one step at a time.
And that is exactly where we find ourselves today, taking one of those sensible steps. Not from creating electricity through water, but from making more use of the power that we've already got.
And strangely, that simple thing has completely altered the way we think about the spring.
So, what was the next sensible step? Well, instead of creating more power, we asked ourselves a simple question: could we just make better use of the power we already get?
Since we've moved in, we've been constantly monitoring these old lead-acid batteries. And even on a sunny day, they take ages to get fully charged.
Now, don't get me wrong, occasionally they do make it to 100%. But with the days getting shorter and winter slowly approaching, we wanted to make sure we're making the most use of the electric we've already got coming in.
Because one of the things that we don't like to do is we don't like waste. So we don't like to waste water, don't like to waste food, don't like to waste wood, and now...
Don't like to waste electric.
No.
So, over the last couple of weeks, we've installed a new inverter and some lithium batteries. Not because the old one had stopped working, but because this one can use the electricity we're already generating a lot more efficiently. The batteries charge much quicker, and this inverter has a second programmable output which opens up a whole world of possibilities. Now, we've only had it running for about a week, so we're going to do a proper review on the system next week after we've got to grips with it. But the one feature that we do love at the minute is its programmable second output. So I can program it that when the batteries get to 95%, it sends power to this second consumer unit that we've installed, which can then heat our hot water or even charge our battery bank.
It's not about using more electricity, it's about using it better.
Yeah, and that's when it sort of dawned on us, if we can do that with our solar and our batteries, why can't we do that with our water?
Because every single day, once that water tank is full, the spring still carries on quietly flowing away.
Yeah, and instead of seeing that as wasted water and overflow, maybe it's time we started seeing it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
And maybe it can be used to produce some hydropower.
So where does all that leave us then?
Well, we've still got plenty to do before we can even think about using the overflow to generate hydropower. We need to improve the intake system of the spring, not just because it will improve our water supply, but that's the only way we can sort of measure and see what the overflow is and see if it's worth creating some hydropower from. But the best thing about it is we already have a legal right to draw water from that spring. So with all our other hydro plans, we'd had to get permissions because we'd be capturing water and altering water courses. We already have that permission. So it's less red tape.
Yep.
It's probably going to be less cost because the distance isn't as far.
No.
And it just feels a bit fuck the system, doesn't it? You know what I mean? We're not bending the rules. We're just using them to our advantage, sort of thing.
Suit our
Who wants to go
purposes.
through red tape if you don't have to?
No, exactly.
So, yeah, watch this space. We're going to be seeing if we can make some improvements on that intake and measure the output and see if it's worthwhile.
Yeah, one step at a time.
Exactly.
Because every time we can do something for ourselves using what we already have, it's one less thing we have to depend on somebody else for.
Yeah, and looking back, like, none of this is about batteries or solar panels or inverters. It's about building our life for ourselves, where we depend less on other people and more on ourselves.
A life where we actually understand where our things come from, our water, our electricity and our food.
Yeah, because when you understand where those things come from, you tend to appreciate them just that little bit more.
Yeah.
We're definitely not saying that this life works for everybody.
No, we're not saying that it's the only way, but it's just the way that works for us.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily choose it because we don't like work, because we've probably took on more work than we ever have.
It wasn't about saving money, and it definitely wasn't the easy option.
No, but every day we seem to acquire more knowledge and learn new skills, which again gives us the freedom to do what we want.
Exactly. So next week we'll show you a bit more about our setup, how we're getting on with it, what are our likes, what are our dislikes, just generally how it's been going.
Yeah, and I suppose that's about it for this week. But one question for you: how do you make a waterbed bouncier?
I don't know.
Fill it with spring water. And on that note, folks, catch you next week.
See you later.
You know what to do.
Oh yeah, hype and subscribe and comment.
And like.
And like. Don't forget to like, yes.
See you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Very good, Anthony.